one of the things I like most in the world,
Me.
peanut butter. But also...
Marmite.
Yeah, you are Marmite. But also football transfers.
Yeah.
And just so happens that for a football transfer lover like this guy, Friday, 30th of August, Christmas Day.
Have you taken the day off work so you can watch Sky Sports News?
Sweetly wrapped gifts.
Yeah.
Well, ordinarily I would take the day off work to watch Sky Sports News, but now we are basically Sky Sports News for the EFL transfer market, because on NTT20.com we're going to be working harder than ever.
Yes.
In the office, 5 of us, covering every single transfer that gets done.
We did this in January on deadline day, and it was relatively stressful, especially the last couple of hours. And I think the summer transfer deadline day is that times like 10. So I'm excited. We are going to cover every single deal that goes through on deadline day. We're going to write it up. We're going to give a verdict. We're going to tell you what you can expect from that player. And I'm excited. Yeah,
it's going to be a free subscriber piece, so just follow along all day on Friday, get a tab open at work, ntt20.com's transfer live blog, and just keep refreshing it. George, we are expecting complete bedlam, in particular in the Championship, where even more so than normal in what is a pretty chaotic division, it feels like there's still so much that needs to be sorted out, and in particular with some of the kind of biggest names in the division, the teams with the most money in the division, a lot of whom are still losing players that they will need to replace. In particular, I'm talking Burnley.
Yes.
I'm talking perhaps Leeds United.
Yes.
It's going to be carnage.
The Burnley and Leeds, I think, are two where we're going to see so much action. Leeds, loads of players being strongly linked, but have they been confirmed yet? At the time of recording, basically no. Burnley, about 7 players seemingly on their way out. Links to Morgan Whittaker, links to other players coming in. That we're going to see a lot of action there. Sunderland still want a striker, even though Wilson Isidore is in. It feels like they want another one to come in at some point too. Hull probably going to bring in about 45 players from around the world, which is going to be exciting.
Hull are fun. Hull have signed a 21-year-old Colombian midfielder, Gustavo Puerta. And they've already got a 20-year-old Ecuadorian midfielder, Oscar Zambrano. They are, more than any team ever, playing Championship Manager or Football Manager with this. Yeah. And will it work? Who can say? I have my doubts, but you can't deny it's pretty good fun. I mean, the Championships, the level of signing from overseas has been absolutely nuts this summer. It's so exciting. It means that we're having a lot of fun writing up these transfers for our readers and giving them as much detail as we can about the players that their teams are signing. Who would you say has been your favourite transfer so far this season in the EFL?
His name is Dembele. Karamoko Dembele.
Right, not Siriki Dembele.
At this stage, hasn't moved at time of recording. Linked to a few clubs. A player that I love.
Yeah.
Karamoko Dembele is a player who's gone to QPR on loan from Brest. There was seemingly a bit of confusion at the beginning of the summer where it was reported in France that he'd been released by Brest. But that doesn't seem to have been the case, which is quite good because he's quite good at football. He's someone who perforated our consciousness nearly a decade ago when he played for the Celtic first team when he was 13 or something stupid. And unlike a lot of his predecessors of these kind of viral sensations who then kind of disappear off into the ether and become trivia question answers, he's actually really good. He's 21 years old. He's 21 years of age, and he spent last season on loan at Blackpool. Now he's 5'6", and he's small, and you look at him and you kind of just assume that you know the player that he's going to be.
Yeah.
And he is a good ball carrier. Like he's a good dribbler. He's good at carrying the ball.
Gets fouled a lot.
People
can't get it off him.
The thing that sets him apart, and also not dissimilar to Siriki in this sense, is that he's got the end product and the kind of the technical ability and the passing ability that you don't necessarily often see from players of that physical profile, of that ball carrying profile, especially not at this level. And that means that even though he's a diminutive player, he is best used as a number 10. He's best used as a player who can impact games through the middle. He can play, he's left-footed, he can play off the right. His set-piece delivery is very good as well. QPR have already profited from that with 2 goals scored direct from his corners. And, he's there on loan for a season. I think Karamoko Dembele's future long-term belongs in one of Europe's top 5 leagues. I don't think he'll be a championship player for very long. Interesting that Ilias Chair is another player that we're probably expecting to leave in the next 48 hours or so. And he, nominally played off the left-hand side, but in Saito, a Japanese player that QPR brought in, they brought in a proper left winger. And therefore, I think the balance that QPR are going to have with Dembele playing through the middle, given the license to drift into the wider channels in order to take on fullbacks, but also nominally being a number 10, is really going to help him. He scores goals as well. His ball striking is very clean. He's just a really well-rounded, good footballer who I don't think his size really hampers him at all. So someone that I'm incredibly excited to see, who's already doing the business for his new club.
Yes, he's absolutely fabulous. I love him. Just to show that we're not all championship focused on Not the Top 20 podcast, the number one EFL podcast. There's a lot of transfers that I like in League One. I'm going to be really cheering on Bailey Cadamartri on loan at Lincoln. This is a guy that I think, based on the analysis that I did ahead of the 21 under 21 list that we did for the EFL over the summer, what I think I've seen from Cadamartri is like an innate goal scoring ability inside the box, understanding where the ball is going to be, anticipating that, and really composed in his finishing, always keeps the ball down, doesn't snatch at it, strikes it cleanly. And I expect if Lincoln can create plenty of chances, which has not always been the case for them over the last 18 months or so, or to start this season, I do believe that he will be able to finish them. Birmingham's transfer business has been absolutely absurd. Stockport Counties has been wonderful. What is Oliver Norwood doing in League One? Absolutely no idea. But my favourite transfer of the whole summer is in League Two, and it's Grimsby's signing of Jason Daddy Svanthorsen from FC Breidablik in Iceland. And that's because, look, we all want to analyse transfers and we want to be able to say this is good, this is bad, this will be a good fit, what are they doing, what a waste of money, all that sort of stuff. But I fell in love with football because it's fun, and part of what I fell in love with football is the exoticism of transfers from overseas.
Great word.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You said earlier that Karamoko Dembele had perforated our consciousness. That was incredible phrasing. So that's 1-1 for us. And so I'm always going to love a League Two club signing a winger from Iceland because it's fun and it's creative. And is he going to be good? I don't really know. That's because if you watch his clips from Iceland and if you look at his stats, he looks like an absolute baller. 26 goals, 22 assists in 72 top-flight games in Iceland. Exceptional. One of the big questions around foreign recruitment is trying to understand the level that they are playing at and the team where they are playing. How will that translate to playing for Grimsby in League Two? And this, for me, is a fascinating part of the Svanthorsen signing, where if you look at 21st Group, data intelligence firm, if you look at their worldwide club rankings and league rankings model, the Icelandic league is weaker as a league in terms of quality than League Two. But Breidablik themselves and two other teams in Iceland are clearly the strongest, like the big three, if you like. And they, as individual clubs, are more like League One level teams. So this guy's been putting up big numbers for a team that are like a League One quality team in a division that's weaker than League Two. And I think that's probably why we're seeing him get such a high level of goal contributions. And we probably shouldn't expect him to do quite so well with Grimsby. But even so, like I think it reflects really well on the club, on the manager David Artell, that they would even consider making this deal. It shows that they are thinking outside the box. It shows that they are fishing in northern seas. And I think that should be applauded because League Two recruitment, it's mostly pretty safe. It's mostly getting guys that have performed at that level before or young players that haven't but that you hope might be able to on free transfers or loans and short-term deals. And I just think if you can break the habit of a lifetime and just dream a little bit bigger, you might do quite well for yourself. So he's made a few appearances so far. He looks very energetic. He's a very busy player. He's not a selfish wide forward. He likes to combine with teammates, and we've seen that already in a Grimsby shirt. His touch has looked a little bit iffy, and maybe he's going to take a bit of time to adapt to League Two football. But I love this signing because of what it represents. The only player signed by a League Two club from overseas this summer that isn't a British player returning home, and there have been a couple of those, and that's why I love it. As you can tell, we're pretty passionate about transfers in the EFL. As you can probably tell, deadline day is going to be really fun and really crazy, and we are committed to covering it in the best possible way.
Can I change my answer?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
He's called Dembele.
What?
Siriki Dembele is my favourite transfer of the window.
Sir Ricky's moved.
Siriki to my beloved Oxford.
Oh my God.
It's another Dembele. It's another transfer, and it's happened live as we record right now at 1:00.
This is really sweet. Are you really excited about that?
I mean, I'm excited because he's a player that I've loved. I think it's a sign for the club of reaching a different level, I would say. This is a guy who's pretty proven at championship level. He's the Josh Murphy replacement. He's someone who is right-footed, who plays off the left-hand side, but can use both feet. I'm not going to give it all away because I think people who subscribe to NT20.com should have to, will get my thoughts. But yeah, as we're recording, a late shift in my favourite transfer, I'm afraid. And it'll probably change again tomorrow.
This is not the top 20. We're the #1 EFL podcast. You should subscribe to our YouTube channel to get loads of really good video content. You should also make sure you're with us on NTT20.com during the EFL transfer deadline day. We're not worried about all those boring Premier League do's and don'ts, will theys and won't theys. We're talking EFL done deals all day. Join us. It'll be great fun.